I want to take a deep dive into a couple of things before I bring in my first guest. And I want to bring you an important story from New York City, where there has been an absolute political earthquake this week. Because, as flagged on this program in recent weeks, this man, Zohran Mamdani, a committed hard-left so-called democratic socialist, has won the Democratic nomination to run for mayor of New York City. And guess what? He is very likely to win the general election later this year. Now, this is important because it is the biggest indicator that the hard left, the Democrat socialist wing of the Democrat Party, you know, the Bernie Bros, all of those people, well, they're taking over. And that sort of thinking is now becoming mainstreamed in the party. And this also means that you will, in coming years, see this movement pull American politics, or at least attempt to pull American politics, as far to the left as Donald Trump has pulled it to the right. Let me break it down for you. Mamdani's win came at the expense of establishment characters like Andrew Cuomo, and it points to a new generation rising up through the party that is far more radical, taking over as the old generation of the Nancy Pelosi's and the Joe Bidens and all those other folks fade away. Now, Mamdani, for his part, is a slick character. He's an immigrant who is 33 years old and has only been a U.S. citizen for 7 years. He runs on a radical program. I mean, it's full of the usual stuff, of course, from calling to pull down statues of Columbus. And I mean, hey, that's quite a way for a migrant to behave, trying to pull down the icons of the country that took him in, but whatever. And of course, he also wants to defund the police, which he once said was an act of queer liberation. He's straight, by the way, but it's a great piece of signaling that shows that he's right there with the identity politics left. Of course, Mamdani wants to decriminalize just about everything from drugs to prostitution and put criminals back on the street. But also his economics are, and there's no other word for this, bonkers. Now, obviously, he wants to tax the rich even harder than they already are in New York City. He wants to cap rents, which will, of course, make the housing crisis worse. And this is truly nuts. He wants to open government-run grocery stores to help with the cost of food and the cost of living. Because, of course, yes, this worked out so well in the Soviet Union. Now, Mamdani has also refused to condemn the phrase globalize the intifada, also an indicator of how radical he is. And, of course, we know that globalize the intifada has been associated with all sorts of unfortunate incidents. Have a look at this.
I've been clear time and time again that there is no room for violence in our city, no room for violence in our country. My point is not that this is language that I use. It is a larger point about these words have different meaning for many different people.
Won't walk away from that one, but doesn't matter because he's got some very slickly produced campaign ads, which, in essence, are him promising free stuff in foreign languages.
मैं हमारे शहर को अफोर्डेबल बनाऊंगा। न्यूयॉर्कर्स मुश्किल से अफोर्ड कर रहे हैं रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान। मैं ये सब बदलने के लिए लड़ रहा हूँ। रेंट फ्री बसेस, यूनिवर्सल चाइल्ड केयर और सस्ती ग्रोसरीज के जरिए। पर आपको एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ। तुमने कभी किसी को वोट किया?
Free. It's the same in every language, isn't it? Interestingly, though, his mother is a filmmaker, which some observers have suggested is why he is able to make these videos that are so good at humanizing him. Meanwhile, his father, turns out, is a professor of post-colonial studies at Columbia University who has some interesting opinions of his own.
The Israel lobby, is it responsible for U.S. foreign policy? This question would need reformulation. It would need us to rethink the relationship between Israel and the U.S.
Is it any wonder, then, that Mamdani has emerged as this media-friendly promulgator of radicalism? Now, many people have made a big deal about Mamdani being Muslim, but I actually think that's the wrong point. He doesn't deserve criticism for that. Instead, the point is not that he's a radical Muslim, but rather that he is a radical who has cleverly used his Muslim identity to appeal to the hard left, and particularly Gen Z and millennial voters who were raised on identity politics and say, oh, he's exotic. He has to be good. But his campaign then has fused this new politics of oppression with the old economics of Bernie Sanders. And it's the sort of thing we've seen from people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And mark my words, what's happening here in New York City, and this is why it's so important, is going to be seen as an emboldening moment for progressives across the United States who are ready and just dying to ditch the old generation of the Pelosi's and the Bidens and everybody else I mentioned before for something far younger, far more telegenic, and far more radical. In the meantime, if Mamdani wins the general election in 130 days or so, well, guess what? We're going to get to see yet another real-life experiment in socialism in the most important city in the United States. Well, I mean, what could go wrong? Socialism! It's worked so well everywhere it's been tried.